Algorithms, initially designed to help with human life and fight infobesity, have now generated new kind of problems that other algorithms are trying to solve. But perhaps the solution doesn't lie in another algorithm. Perhaps it lies in us. Hi and welcome to my brain, where I am just a strange girl with strange interests, and today we are going to discuss the comeback of curatorship in this digital era. As I just mentioned, algorithms were designed to fight something called infobesity, which is the overload of information we're currently fighting with on a daily basis. So algorithms were designed to help us go through them and find a path that seems personalized to us. And that worked with Spotify, Netflix recommendations, YouTube recommendations, or even the pictures you see on Pinterest. All of them are pushed to you based on a personalized experience algorithm that gives you specifically what you've been liking and what you've been looking for before. However, that creates another issue called tautology.
Taste tautology.
This one, which is a psychological feedback loop where your own preferences dictate what you see next. And you don't even know how much of the information you're currently consuming is dictated by such algorithms that not only create taste tautology, this thing, they also create the so-called filter bubble that we've all been hearing about. And this is a point to make later in the video, but here I think it's better understood and fits better overall. I wanted to give you a quick thought to linger with. Especially if you are somebody who is more in the Western side of the world, I want you to tell me how many times you have seen music that is not Western. How many times were you able to discover naturally through streaming platforms Eastern European, Middle Eastern, Asian, anything that is more from the East? Because even I, who was born in Eastern Europe, was not recommended directly Eastern European music when I opened up my Spotify account when I was still a teenager. And that makes you think how maybe specific cultures have a bigger privilege overall in these streaming platforms, and how that could be devastating for the industries in other cultures. And if you're specifically interested in the Eastern European one, there is another creator that you may want to follow that can actually give you more information about the way specifically Spotify and streaming platforms have shifted Eastern and Central European countries into becoming bigger in the music industry. I highly recommend you follow Cullah, who goes around and tries to get new laws in place regarding this issue. So back to where the video was going overall. Have a nice watch. It makes your world small, and it does not allow you to get any other critical information unless you design your algorithm to show you things that you actually do not have a preference to, but then you actually have to be algorithmically conscious. Some social media platforms now also give you the option to see what the algorithm thinks you will like, which you can see in Instagram, for example. But when we are talking about social media, it's also nice to discuss the fact that the amount of time spent on average has actually lowered a little bit with just a few minutes in the last couple of years, which means that people are becoming more and more aware of what they're doing, seeing, participating in when it comes to social media. But that doesn't just come from a change of habits all of a sudden, it actually comes from losing trust towards the internet. There is actually another fun statistic that I will read from my notes, that consumers saw fake reviews, deepfakes, AI writing, and AI music. Which of course feeds into the distrust people have towards the internet these days. People want journalists to actually be investigating and not just creating clickbait articles in order to get the clicks by generating them or whatever other aspect. Because we need people to critically create things, not just feed, not just serve, but actually create new things. Going back to the whole discussion about trust and accountability, that's what people want. They want somebody to be accountable, which is the main reason people want a human in the loop, which is also the main reason they want a human to be leading, because if there isn't somebody to be accountable, then we have things like what ChatGPT has been making in the past 2 years. and to not just come here and feed into the rage of AI, because I feed into it, we all feed into it. I think I see a light somewhere in the tunnel. Not at the end of it, but somewhere in the tunnel. And that light might actually be coming from Substack. From 2023 to 2025, Substack has actually increased the amount of users that they have by
115%.
And if you don't know what Substack is a website/app where you can subscribe to a specific person that writes newsletters, and they become your curator. They become something like what blogs were before. However, we're seeing a lot of the journalists that have been laid off due to this whole wave of new AI technology or whatever. Go to Substack and write and find an audience that actually appreciates the human part of writing or curating something for them. And this is exactly where this video comes in, because Substack has made a little nest for itself where people curate things for other people. For example, I've seen so many newsletters about new websites or new ways to discover music or new ways to find art online, and the lists that they create are actually made by people, which makes it even more interesting for you to look into it, because it means somebody already has tried it out for you and is telling you, this is good, this is bad, try this. For example, as I just said, I saw this amazing newsletter from one of the creators on Substack that gives you recommendations on new ways to find and discover music. Because let's be honest, the platform called Spotify, not only has it become one of the biggest corporate evils when it comes to the music industry and overall corporations, and you can learn more about that specifically from Drew Gooden's video. Amazing. I don't think I can add anything more than what he had already said. They've also managed to mess up the algorithm that got them so big in the first place. All the recommendations and Discover Weekly or Discover Daily or whatever kind of Discover playlist you can think of. They have now been less and less made by humans and more made by machines. I don't know about you, but I've not had a cool new song being recommended to me by Spotify as a streaming platform. And that is where Substack came in clutch, because there were so many cool websites that I didn't even know about that this specific person has curated in a list and given it to other people to go and find out music for themselves. And you're probably thinking, oh, that's just Substack and I don't want to read constantly articles, and to be honest, who cares? Well, actually, looking into the statistics about music discovery, of course, the platforms are still on the top. But I'm interested in the things that come underneath it, because I think they show a new wave that could potentially bump out the first standard. And that is word of mouth, video games, and social media. And you might be thinking, yeah, but social media has the same algorithms that we were just talking about. How do you think that this is gonna change something? By the creators you may be following. There has been an influx, at least in my opinion, by what I have found, of creators that give recommendations, that tell you, if you like this song, maybe try this song. Of course, if you follow constantly creators that think the same way as you and do the same things as you, then you would fall into the filter bubble again. But if you are algorithmically conscious, you would know to follow people that can give you recommendations that are either random, something that they've stumbled upon and want to share, or have actual credentials in the specific field. In the past few months, I love watching content that is from producers that share their new favorites, their new discovers, and kind of do what radio did before, where you would listen to the radio host and they would make a playlist and recommend you songs from it. Of course, we all know about the scandal during the peak radio, that artists can give them money to be promoted more in a radio station, but that also happens in Spotify now, where creators can pay a specific fee to be recommended more. So at the end of the day, has it actually solved something? And this is where I think all the curators that have now been coming up and popping out can become the new wave of us figuring out new things and discovering new things. We've also seen iceberg videos, right? And yeah, you click on them because you're interested in the topic that may be books, cults, music, series, web series, ARGs, whatever it is. But because it is an iceberg and because it has so many things on it, going through it, you find and discover new things. But who creates these icebergs? People. Mostly Redditors, but people. And another way that could help is to actually start asking your friends for recommendations. Going to local art exhibitions, going to local bands, going to something that is near you and you can see that it is humanly made and humanly given, the same way as your creators. If you find creators that can give you good curations of something specific, follow them, support them. Now more than ever do we need humans to actually be curating and giving us content that actually enriches us and gives us a new way of thinking or a new way of viewing something or just entertaining us in the actual sense of entertaining. And this is exactly something that I would love to start doing. So from now on you may see some videos that may or may not have recommendations, lists or whatever in the media field that could be regarding series, dramas, audio dramas, scripts, books, whatever, anything media, I love it. And if I have found something that I think could give you more from life or more from your experience on the internet, I would love to give it to you and for you to consume something that is actually made by humans and that is actually enriching your quality of life. And I wasn't as funny in this video as I typically am, or typically try to be actually, but we'll try more and more in the next videos to come. So hopefully you enjoyed this one and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!